Welcome to my living room transformation. This is a clip from an hour after I picked up the keys to the house, so we're still in our normal clothes. These were not our work clothes, and we just wanted to get in and start taking some wallpaper off and see what we find. So we took the wallpaper off and we found lots of cracks. So this yellow wall is what the original wall was down to in the whole of the living room. So the first thing to do was take off all of the wallpaper, which I've already done, and scrape off the backing base paper, which is the bit that actually gets glued to the wall. This was such a pain. There was so much of it and it was really hard to get off. After we had gotten down to the very base of the wall, we didn't expose it back to brick because we didn't want to have to replaster the whole house. So I set to with some polyfiller to fill all of the cracks. Now, there was a lot more cracks than I originally thought there was going to be. So in a second you will see an awful lot of white on the walls. So the yellow is the original wall and the white is the polyfiller that's dried. We pretty much ended up polyfilling the entire wall. As you can see here, I'm just polyfilling everything. I'd never done any polyfiller before. This was before we became property developers, so we really had no idea what we were doing. This was probably 3 days in to me having the keys to the house. So here we go. You can see all of that white. That's all polyfiller that needs to be sanded off. So this thing that Levi is chiseling out now was the thing that the lady who lived here before used to pray to, so it had a little religious statue in it. So I had a vision for this room when I first bought the house, and I just wanted to block it up and open out the fireplace because I think it's important for a living room to have a fireplace and a focal point. So that was what I wanted and Levi made for me, basically. So we took up this horrible lino to expose the floor, so we were able to get the fireplace cracking. So whilst I was sanding all of the filler off the walls, Levi started to expose where we wanted the fireplace to be, which just meant a lot of hammer and chiseling and getting the bricks out. Again, this was right at the start of our house renovation journey, so we didn't have a lot of knowledge of what to do, and we also didn't have anywhere near the amount of tools that we have today. So this would have taken a fraction of the time if we were able to use the tools that we now have. After I'd sanded all of that polyfiller off, it exposed a few more cracks, so I just went in and filled those ones back up, all whilst Levi was still getting my fireplace for me. So I'm base coating this here, so I'm using a 50-50 water and paint mixture. This is because there's so much polyfiller on here that the paint would just get sucked right up, so you need to reduce the quantities and make the mixture a lot thinner. So this room probably had 3 or 4 coats of paint. So after I did the original base coat, I went around and started glossing all of the woodwork, so the picture rail, the skirting board, the doors. I knew that I wanted to keep the picture rail because, again, this was a feature that I really liked from the room and I thought it added some character, and I also wanted to have a colour in the room. At this point I hadn't really decided what colour I wanted, I just knew I wanted a different colour below. I should also mention that I did go around and sand all of the woodwork. I didn't sand it right back to the wood because it wasn't necessary. You don't always need to sand right back down to the wood if there is an even texture. So I did sand them all down before I glossed them. So I had to restore all of the doors in the house. There was a horrendous panel stuck on the front of the doors, so we couldn't see this original feature on the door. I'm not sure what I would call this, but let's call it the mouldings, that sort of cross in the middle of the door. That wasn't there when I first bought the house. It was only when I took off the panel that I realised that it was there. So we took the panels off and it was stuck on with nails, so I just had to sand and polyfill, etc, etc. So these doors were an absolute pain in the rear to paint because the colour of the door just kept seeping through and it went like a yellow colour. I still to this day do not understand why that happened, but we got over it because I just painted about 7 million layers of gloss paint. Here is my wonderful builder who is still with us currently on house project number 3. He's bricking up the old statue home. During this time, the plumber was fitting the central heating. There was no central heating in this house, so I paid for central heating to be fitted and brand new radiators throughout. So the radiators were fitted. I then went ahead and painted the walls whilst I waited for the chimney breast to be done. So after he'd bricked up the little statue area, he was able to then go and plaster the chimney. The fireplace was flagstoned because I didn't want to put a log burner in or anything like that because I didn't have the money, but I just wanted some flagstones, and you'll see in a minute how it looks with the big church candle in it. So this was the colour I went for. It's from Dulux. I'll look it up if you guys are interested. If not, it's just a nice sunny yellow colour and I really like it, and I'm very glad I chose it. So after all of that painting was done, I wanted to put the mantle beam on. Again, I knew I wanted this. It did take me a few times to get it level and actually attach it to the wall. It had these funny silent or invisible attachments that I had to bang into place. Anyway, here's my living room. It looks pretty different now and I am thrilled with it. I love it so much. It's my second favourite room in the house after the kitchen, but that's probably because I spend the second most amount of time in here. So these 2 chairs I bought from TK Maxx. They were quite expensive, but I did want to have some really nice chairs. These prints are from Desenio, and I wanted to go for, like I said, a bit of a Scandinavian feel with just very neutral tones, warm tones, greys, beiges, that sort of thing. Well, I know that grey isn't a warm tone, don't tell me off. And we also took off the door, so you can see that there's actually not a door in the door frame there, because we didn't need to close the door, so it kept it feeling nice and open. This little footstool, which I'm currently resting my feet on, again, I can't actually remember where I got it from. I don't like my sofa, but it was free, and sofas are very expensive, so I haven't bought one yet. Anyway, sorry, I know I'm babbling, and you probably just want to watch what it looks like. My coffee table, and yeah, it's my living room, and I hope you like it. I really like it, and I hope that you enjoyed this transformation. If you want to know where any specific pieces are from, just leave me a comment below. If not, I hope you like the way that it looks. I hope you liked this transformation, and I'll be back with my dining room transformation at some point soon. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.